I personally tend to run away from conflicts. But the truth is, conflicts are not the problem. In fact, conflicts are useful. Conflicts are often necessary to arrive at the best results. The real problem is this: most people don't know how to deal with conflicts effectively. At the workplace, we are constantly surrounded by people with different belief systems, values, opinions, and priorities. Naturally, we don't always agree with them, and that's where friction begins. So today we are going to learn some powerful lessons from the book Negotiating the Non-Negotiables and understand how to handle emotionally charged conflicts calmly and intelligently, especially at work. Before we continue, here's a quick note about WinSpark. At WinSpark, we help working professionals speak with confidence, communicate with clarity, negotiate without self-doubt, and unlock the leader that already exists inside them. You will find the link in the description if you would like to know more about it. Now, let's break this down into simple chapters so you can actually apply these ideas in real life situations. Chapter 1: The real problem with arguments. Most conflicts are not about what we are arguing about. They are about how we argue. Think about it. Two people can disagree on the same topic, yet one conversation ends peacefully, while another turns emotional, defensive, or aggressive. Why does that happen? Because effective conflict resolution requires us to overcome three major psychological barriers, things that are extremely dear to us. These three barriers are identity, appreciation, affiliation. Let's go through them one by one. Chapter 2: Identity. When conflict feels personal. The first and the most powerful barrier is identity. We often get extremely emotional during conflicts because the issue touches something deeper: our core values, beliefs, pride, or sense of self. The moment a conflict gets linked to your identity, your emotional response becomes 10 times stronger. Now, it's no longer just about a project, an idea, or a decision. It becomes about who I am, what I stand for, my self-respect, my competence. And once that happens, the conversation changes completely. You stop trying to solve the problem. You start trying to protect yourself. So, what should we do in such a situation? The key is self-awareness. Ask yourself, why is this issue triggering me? Which value or belief of mine feels threatened right now? What am I really trying to protect here? The more clearly you understand who you are and what you stand for, the easier it becomes to stay balanced. Even when the other person challenges your beliefs, when your identity is clear inside you, you don't need to defend it aggressively outside. Chapter 3: Appreciation. The missing ingredients in arguments. The second barrier is appreciation. Every human being without exception wants to feel heard, understood, and respected. But during conflicts, appreciation is the first thing to disappear. Each side wants appreciation, yet neither side wants to give it. That's the paradox. So, what can we do? Here's something simple, but incredibly powerful. Don't rush to speak. For the first few minutes of a conflict, listen. I know it's difficult. Your mind wants to interrupt, defend, explain, and justify. But instead, listen carefully and ask yourself, what value is driving their perspective? Why is this important to them? What are they trying to protect or achieve? Whether the conflict is about a delayed project, a different strategy, office politics, or even larger topics like social or political views, try to understand where they are coming from. And once you genuinely understand it, say something like, I hear where you are coming from. That makes sense from your perspective. This doesn't mean you agree with them, it simply means you recognize their viewpoint. And appreciation does something very powerful. It lowers emotional defenses. Ironically, the moment you appreciate the other person, you move into a position of strength. Chapter 4, Affiliation. From me versus you to us versus the problem. The third barrier is affiliation, the emotional bond between you and the other person. Most conflicts are approached as me versus you, my idea versus your idea, my plan versus your plan. And in that process, we forget something very important. We are on the same team. So how do we change this dynamic? You look for common ground. Shift the framing from who is right to how do we solve this together. Turn the other person from an adversary into a partner. Use language like, what outcome do we both want here? How can we align our interest? How do you think we can make this work for both the sides? When conflict becomes shared problems, collaboration replaces competition. And that's where real solution emerges. Chapter 5, Negotiation Jiu-Jitsu. When resistance is high. Now let's talk about negotiation jiu-jitsu, a powerful concept from the book. When the other side resists strongly, your instinct may be to push harder, but that only increases resistance. Instead, try this. First, don't argue positions. Explore interest. If someone says, I want this and I won't accept anything else, don't fight the position. Ask, why is this so important to you? Understanding the why changes the entire conversation. Second, ask for their advice. If they keep rejecting your ideas, ask, if you were in my position, what would you do? This does two things. It lowers defensiveness. It makes them part of the solution. Third, invite criticism. Instead of defending your idea, ask, what do you think is wrong with this approach? This turns opposition into constructive feedback. Chapter 6, Redefining Winning in Conflict. Negotiation is not about winning or losing. The moment you ask, who won this argument? You have already lost something valuable. Different people bring different perspectives, and progress happens when ideas meet, not when egos clash. If you genuinely believe your perspective is better, share it calmly, respectfully, and clearly. Strong ideas don't need force, they need clarity. So, conflicts handled well can lead to better ideas, stronger relationships, deeper trust, and healthier workplaces. But knowledge without practice is just entertainment. So the next time you feel reactive, pause and find your choice point. Respond thoughtfully, not emotionally. If this video helped you, tell me in the comments which technique will you try first. And if there's a workplace challenge you would like me to talk about next, let me know in the comment section. Until then, take care and keep growing.